Good day, my plant foldies. This is Richie at Growfolds, and today we'll be local nursery plant shopping at Green Acres Nursery out in Melissa, Texas. As always, please make sure you are hitting the like button for this video if you enjoy daily 1-hour plant shopping videos, as well as following me on Instagram at Growfolds. That's the fastest way to get in touch with me directly. As you can see right here, Green Acres in Melissa, Texas is an amazing nursery. It is a local nursery out in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. It is definitely out in the North Dallas area. You can see here they've got a bunch of chrysanthemums, and what I love about the chrysanthemums is around this time of the season they typically have them offer 50% off. So even if you go big box store plant shopping, you can find amazing deals. And I always say definitely check out Green Acres. I've made many plant shopping videos at Green Acres. I really love the staff there. I really love the diversity of plants that they have. They have a lot of these outdoor plants here. I will get to the indoor tropical plants, which is going to be the main highlight of this video, but I did want to pass through some of their outdoor garden section. You can see they've got a lot of pansies and a lot of these cold hardy plants that are going to be very much within the season, relevant to the season, the winter and fall season. And then over here we've got an amazing looking flowering begonia, and you can see here that is only for $22.50. Look at how massive that begonia is. It is a really nice container that you can put out as a patio plant. And then we can see we've got a lot of these chrysanthemums. Now here's the thing about chrysanthemums, they are basically in their peak bloom season, so these will only last for maybe another week and a half to 2 weeks, and then they will die off their blooms. The thing about chrysanthemums though is they are perennial plants, so they will come back year after year if you plant them in your landscape. But as you can see right here, Green Acres does have a lot of different types of plant supplies. I want to walk in here and just highlight a couple of things. Now, as far as Green Acres, they have many locations out in California, but they are starting to really pop up in the North Dallas area. They have a more established one out in Irving, Texas. Melissa, this actual location I'm featuring today is still fairly new. They just opened this year, but I absolutely love it. It is actually closer to where I'm based at, which is in North McKinney. And then you can see over here they do have lots of different soils. I love soils amendments. You can see that I did show you some leca, and as far as a lot of my plants, I have been transferring them into semi-hydro. I feel like they're going to be a lot easier to grow in semi-hydro, and I love the fact that Green Acres has these plant supplies readily available. You can see they've got bird feeders, and they've got aisles and aisles of gorgeous planters. And as far as the planters, Green Acres has some really competitive pricing when you compare their pricing to big box stores or other local nurseries, and it is a huge facility right here. I mean, take a look at this. They've got so many beautiful planters. I do love these planters right here because they've got a very sleek, modern look about them. I always look at these planters and I believe they're for $12. You can see that golden yellow one is really a nice one. I have some furniture that is this color. It would be perfect for my home decor. And I've asked a lot of my plant foldies, and for those that are new to this channel, I call my viewers and subscribers plant foldies. My name is Richie. You already know I try to do daily plant shopping videos and also try to be on the live premiere chat. So if you're watching this during a live premiere chat and you haven't said hi, please do so. We have a really awesome community here. And if you are just watching this after the live premiere, I would love for you guys to leave me many comments. I respond to every single comment. I love that engagement from our plant community on this YouTube channel. Now, as you turn around here, you can see they've got a lot of terracotta planters, and I really love these particular planters. So I love the gray. I love how it's got a modern look about it. And when you think about planters, especially terracotta planters like this, these are good planters for people that overwater. And the reason being is these planters, any terracotta, will actually suck the moisture out of the soil. So the soil doesn't really stay wet for a long time. And, I'm looking for even these shallow planters here. I have a couple of crawling philodendron that I could put in a shallow container like that so they can actually crawl. I also love the fact that they have these tall planters like this one, for instance, that's only for $7. And if you have a plant, for instance, like an Aglaonema that is really leggy and and it's just got stems, you can actually plant it further down into a tall pot and it will actually fix the legginess instantly. I mean, that is one of those quick plant hacks that I always want to share. And look at this right here. This cylinder planter is absolutely stunning. I really love that matte finish about it. It's really got a nice modern look, but I'm not going to delay this any longer. I want to go ahead and walk into the indoor tropical plant section. This is the main event, and this is one of the largest indoor tropical plant areas that you'll walk into in North Dallas, and you can see we are about to enter paradise. So a couple of things I wanted to highlight about this indoor tropical nursery. One is it is run by my friend Parker. I am super proud that he has been able to lead and run this actual nursery. He is extremely knowledgeable about plants, and all of the plants he sources out from multiple areas, and there's some really cost-effective plant pricing. What I would say is their larger plants are really priced well. So if you're looking for a plant that is already a large size, particularly like a philodendron or some type of ficus plant like this, you will notice that the plant pricing is fair. It's actually affordable, and if you want instant gratification where you need a statement piece plant but you don't necessarily have the time or investment in just actually growing it to that size, you can go to Green Acres Nursery out in Melissa, Texas. I have bought large philodendron from them, and they range between $50, but instead of having to wait for like a year or two for them to get a size, you can just spend like $50 and you have a massive plant to put in an indoor space. You can see we've got some ficus taniki right here, and then I'm going to walk over here and show you some more of the other plants. So they've got a combination of easy to care for plants, affordable plants, rare and uncommon plants, and like this one right here, philodendron micans, $9.75. Really good deal for a philodendron micans in a 4-inch planter. And you can see they've got some other philodendron heteroraceum as well, and they've got even more plant supplies. So the great thing about going to Green Acres is it is a one-stop shop. Not only can you get some amazing plants, but you can get all of the supplies you need, the fertilizers, the pest control, the planters, all of that. And then over here, Syngonium Starlight, $27.50. Really love the Syngonium Starlight. I have this as well, and what I like about this particular Syngonium is you notice how the leaves are a little bit more narrow. They're a little bit more, I guess, sporadic in the shape of their leaves, which I like. I love the texture of it. And with Syngoniums, they're easy to care for plants. They can require more so bright indirect light. I will say they're not as drought tolerant as people will say. You really need to let the soil dry out pretty much like 50%, and then you can go ahead and water them. You don't really want to leave a Syngonium for a drought period for too long. Otherwise, they start to lose their leaves. They start to get more susceptible to pests. But let's go walk over to this table and take a look at some of the plants that they have here. Notice how Green Acres Nursery out in Melissa, Texas has some amazing statements with their plants, the way they've organized them, and I really like that. I think going to a nursery that has an organization like this, it's going to inspire you to buy more plants. That might be a good thing, that might be a bad thing, but for me, if you're ever needing to just get like some relaxation and maybe a mental break from the everyday stresses of life, you can just walk around this greenhouse and admire the plants. A lot of times I make these plant shopping videos, I talk to you guys. I know that sometimes I go off on just doing the plant care tips, but to me, it's very therapeutic to pick up plants, to show you plants like this Norfolk pine, for instance, and just really admire the intricacies of plants. I think a lot of us are into plants because we do enjoy the foliage. We do enjoy seeing new growth. We do enjoy, seeing that new root from our water propagations. There's just a lot to be excited about, and a lot of things I want to go share with our viewers is sometimes it's easier to just slow down and really be in the moment and really take in what is there present versus having to plan or having to feel like you have to get so many things done and accomplished. That's the thing I've had to really slow down and think about, and that's what I wanted to share with you guys today as I do this big this shopping video for you guys at Green Acres. So if you made it this far into the video and you haven't hit the like button, please make sure you are hitting the like button for this video. It definitely helps me out. It definitely pushes this content to more plant lovers like yourself. We want to continue to grow this community because the more people watching these videos, the more fun we'll have have during the live premiere chats, and the more comments we'll get to where we can interact as a community. But yeah, going back to the plants, another thing I would highlight about Green Acres Nursery is they do have services where you can pick a plant and you can have the staff repot it for you. You can choose a planter, and they have a lot of workshops and classes that you can attend as well. I know that they have another rare plant event sometime in February that I am planning on going, and that this time I will actually cover it and take more footage of their rare plant event. Now you can see right here, peace lily. Peace lily is an easy to care for plant. It is a plant that I would recommend for anybody that has some low light conditions in their home. And then you can see they've got a lot of orchids. So they've got a plethora of philodendrons orchids and dendrobium orchids. So you can see they have a selection here. I do love the fact that no matter where you go, you will find orchids, and I love that orchids can be that extra type of tropical plant that you can put in your indoor space to where you can actually have some blooms. Like this dendrobium orchid is for $19.50. Now with orchids, they tend to do better with a little bit more neglect, as in you don't need to water them as often, and if you're able to provide them with a little bit more humidity, they're going to enjoy that as well. Orchids are what you call epiphytes, so in general in nature they actually attach to like tree bark, and they don't really grow in soil. They really are more of a plant that will attach itself to other plants, and I find that interesting. Nature finds its way to actually survive, and with philodendron orchids, as beautiful as they are, they can be a little bit finicky in the sense that if you're overwatering them, they are susceptible to root rot very quickly. But as you can see at Green Acres Nursery, there are many varieties of them. I would like to get into orchids more so. I have a couple in my plant collection, but as far as trying to inundate myself with a lot of blooming plants, I kind of want to stay away from doing that until I can get my personal plant collection under control as far as like watering and just maintenance. Over here, we do have some anthuriums, and these are the blooming anthuriums that we pretty much see at like a big box store like Home Depot, Lowe's, or Walmart. But you can see that they have some large varieties at Green Acres, and you can see that they also have a Syngonium milk confetti for $6.50. So this is a starter plant, and if you're looking for saving money on plants, you can always buy a starter plant and just grow it out. It's going to take a little bit more time for them to get to those sizes, but if you are on a plant budget, I always recommend buying smaller plants to grow out. I think that it actually makes the process a little bit more fun, and when you see that plant get to the size you want it to be, I feel like it's a little bit more satisfying and rewarding. I mean, let me know in the comments if you agree with me, and let me know in the comments if you love Green Acres, what you like about them, what plants you'd want to see, because I feel like they would actually take that feedback very well. One thing I do also love is the fact that they have Monstera deliciosas, and they have them in large sizes. I mean, I've seen some larger sizes that I will highlight in just a bit and show you the price. But if you want one that is already large and you want that instant gratification to get a large type of plant, I would definitely recommend a Monstera deliciosa. They are phenomenal. I love the fenestrations on them, and I just love the fact that, Monstera deliciosa, it's an easy to care for plant. They do get massive in sizes, so you have to plan for when they actually get large. Monstera deliciosa will also need a lot more bright indirect light for them to really be happy, and just know you're going to have to put some type of support, a pole, a moss pole, a plank, for them to continue to grow to their maximum potential. And then you can see over here, we've got a Monstera adansonii, and this one is for $9.75 in a 5-inch planter. That's a really good price. And this one is more like, I believe, the narrow form. And as you can see right here, they also have some Monstera Thai constellations, and Monstera Thai constellation is probably the most common variegated Monstera. It is one that has stable variegation, so you don't ever have to worry about that particular Monstera reverting. It is one of those tissue cultured plants, and it has been tissue cultured to the point where pretty much every local nursery, every big box store will be able to carry it at some point. Let's take a look at the price here. This one is for $45. And so if you want to get a Monstera deliciosa, if that's one of your wish list plants as well, at least it's affordable. I would say about 4 years ago, they were still pretty pricey. I remember buying my first Monstera deliciosa. It was a 1-node 2-leaf cutting for about $200 off of eBay. It is now about 5.5 feet tall, and it's got massive leaves. And, you know, that is what I was talking about, you know, getting a starter plant and just growing it out. Granted, starter plants shouldn't cost $200, but you know, at the time, especially during the pandemic, there was a huge plant boom, a huge like desire for plants, and you know, that's what drives the prices for some of these plants. But I feel like the market now has become a little bit more stabilized in the plant pricing. You can see this is a large one for $95, but you can see how massive that is. I mean, it pretty much takes up that whole floor space. But if you want a Monstera deliciosa that size, you definitely have to go to Green Acres Nursery out in Melissa, Texas. It is, I would dub as one of the premier nurseries out in the North Dallas area. I mean, it is really further up north. And it's one that for those that live out in McKinney, Texas, Frisco, and even Melissa, I would definitely make the run to go here. You can literally take I-75 up north and you will be able to just take a right. It's right next to the Bucky. So if you're a fan of Bucky's and you want to also get some plants like this philodendron gloriosum, stop by Green Acres Nursery. And you know, as far as philodendron gloriosum, notice that it is not a climbing philodendron. This is a crawler. And, you know, philodendron gloriosum, it's a beautiful plant. It's a plant that you can find from a big box store like, you know, Home Depot, where Proven Winners has released it. It is a little bit more of a challenging philodendron to grow in a sense that it is a little bit more spider mite prone. Again, any philodendron that has more of that velvety texture on the leaves, it's going to be a little bit more susceptible to spider mites. I would say definitely give it a little bit higher humidity. That philodendron gloriosum also needs to be on a planter that lets it crawl versus being put on a pole. And then take a look at these air plants. I don't really know a lot about air plants, but they are living, you know, living organisms. They are plants. It's just that their care, I believe, is if you take one of these air plants to water it, you just need to soak it in water, pull it out, let it dry completely, and that is about it. Now, if anybody has any idea as far as like specific care needs for air plants, please leave in the comments. I really do hope you will take the time to do that, because number one, we're all learning from each other. Number two, I know you guys have asked me to give you a little bit more on the plant care tips, so I will try to give you as much insight, but it's also nice to hear from our community. Again, we have another philodendron gloriosum right here, and if you notice, they have many different styles of pots, more pots that are available for the person that loves big box, you know, like big box store planters, but also planters that are a little bit more curated. Pilea peperomoides, or the Chinese money tree plant, or what you call the UFO plant, $9.75 in a 4.5-inch starter planter. I love this as well, and this is a very easy to care for plant. You will need to give it a little bit more bright indirect light. I would say water when the soil is completely dry. It will also give you lots of little baby pups that you can separate from the mother plant and have more plants. And then here is another Pilea. It's typically a Pilea you will see that's released by Costa Farms at a big box store, but as you can see right here, you can get a larger size for only $9.75. Gorgeous plant. That one's going to need a little bit more humidity, and you do not really want to let that soil dry out completely. Over here, we have a philodendron white princess. I believe it's a white princess. Please leave in the comments or correct me if it is not. It could be a white knight, a white wizard, but this one is for $20. Now, any of these philodendron urubescens, especially the white princess, these are easy to care for philodendrons. The only thing I will say with it is not only do you want to provide it with bright indirect light, you need to give it some type of stake or pole because it wants to crawl up. And then you can see over here, this is what I was talking about, larger foliage plants that are already in larger size. This is a Monstera adansonii with larger leaves because it has been allowed to come up a pole or stake. And you can see over here, Dracaena Song of India, and this one is for $450. But if you really want a huge statement piece plant, this is basically a tree. The only thing about Dracaena Song of India is it is one of the most hardest Dracaena to grow long term because of the lighting conditions. It is a very finicky plant. plant, if you don't provide it enough light, it will shed its leaves. So even though Dracaenas on average are one of the easier plants, probably one of the plants that are most underrated, that particular one has opposite care tips. Like, it definitely needs more light, it definitely needs more water. Monstera adansonii, bright indirect light as well. I would say water when the soil is about 50% dry or completely dry, and you should be good to go. And then we also have some more philodendron gloriosums here. And then we have this really large and massive Alocasia Syrion, and it is stunning. What I like about it is it's got that really narrow arrowhead shaped leaf. And then we have some philodendron pink princess right here. Now these philodendron pink princess have very low variegation. They're mostly darker foliage, but I don't mind that as well because I love that black color it has. And then you can see we've got some more philodendrons. This one I believe is either a philodendron McDowell or a philodendron Columbia, but you can see they have massive philodendrons. So if you want a philodendron that is that large, like as a statement plant, you can go to Green Acres Melissa. I'm telling you, the plant pricing and even just the health of these massive plants, it is impeccable. Like this one right here, look at that philodendron Columbia. Look at how large that leaf is. It is huge. And look at how stunning that veining is. Leave in the comments what you think about these philodendron and, you know, which philodendrons you're growing as well. This one right here is for $38.50. This is a pretty large philodendron white wizard in a 6-inch planter. You can see the speckling on it. I really love the variegation of that. And as far as philodendron, even though it is one of the variegated forms, this is actually an easy to care for plant. One that's not going to give you a lot of fuss. It's one that I would recommend as well, even in a beginner stages for your plant collection. This one is for $20 as well. You can see how gorgeous that variegation is. It almost reminds me of like a monstera constellation. And again, it is one of those plants that I feel like we can grow, whether you are a seasoned plant collector that has all these rare aroids. I think that there is always going to be space for easy to care for plants, and that's the thing I love about the Melissa location. Actually, any Green Acres, you'll be able to find a plethora of plants, whether it's going to be for the advanced plant collector or for somebody who just loves plants and you don't mind having basic plants. Alocasia Syrion, this is phenomenal. I wish I could grow this in my indoor space because look at that. That is huge. That is lovely, and it is just massive. And now you can see that certain Alocasias can get to those large sizes. You know, if I had a home, if I owned a house actually that had really tall ceilings, that would be a plant I would put in my collection. And then you can see right here another philodendron white wizard. Just love that variegation. And you can notice that they have a lot of these terracotta planters. Those I believe could be, I think, are handmade. And I just love how it's got more of a imperfect texture and surface around them. I really like that as well. And you can see these philodendron are looking nice. And then this. Can we talk about Aglaonema anyamani? This is only for $13.50. Now, I know that Costa Farms has released a bunch of these out for $19.98, but if you want a smaller one that is close to the size of Costa Farms, but you don't want to spend $19.98, you can go to Green Acres and buy one. I am definitely buying one today. Like, I am on a huge Aglaonema buy spree. Like, literally anytime I see an Aglaonema, whether I already have it or not, I just can't help but purchase it. And I have basically moved a lot of my Aglaonema into semi-hydroponic substrates like Lechuzapon and Leca. And the reason being is I don't always have time to water them, and for some reason semi-hydro substrates actually do two things for me. Number one, I don't have to water the plant nearly as much. Number two, I don't have nearly as many plant pests because fungus gnats, they don't really live in the Leca or Lechuzapon. So it is a win-win situation for me. But as you can see here, pink Aglaonema. Now, for those that have been watching my videos for the last 2 weeks, I know that I've been very passionate about influencing people to at least give Aglaonema a shot, to actually put at least one Aglaonema, even the Aglaonema red Siam, into your plant collection. Curious to see if anybody has actually bought any Aglaonema. Let me know what you like about them. As far as care tips for Aglaonema, you want to literally water the plant when when it is completely dry. You do not want to overwater an Aglaonema. It is drought tolerant for sure and low light tolerant, so you can put them in a lower light condition. As far as fertilization for Aglaonemas, you know, in all-purpose fertilizer, maybe even the all-purpose Miracle-Gro 20-20-20, you know, maybe fertilize them every other week would do well for them. They're very slow growers. So as far as Aglaonema, you're not going to expect a lot of growth from them, but at the same time, when they start to establish like really good root systems, they do push out more growth a little bit easier. Now, cyclamen are plants that we definitely see in the colder months. So you can see that we're going to see a lot more cyclamen. As far as cyclamen, I don't know if you can really grow those long-term indoors. I know some people will grow them because of the blooms, but long-term, I'm not sure if they will actually survive indoors. But you can see how massive this nursery is. And I just like that they have even more tables with more fun planty things. Like this right over here is a beautiful terrarium setup. So if you want to do terrariums, and that's something I'm going to explore next year when I have a little bit more time. I have a lampshade and a lamp that is actually clear that I want to redo a terrarium, but you can see this is $142. It is already a ready-to-made terrarium. You can see they've got a Hoya and they've got some cactus in there. Really nice looking terrarium. I would say for terrariums, so you want to put plants that are a little bit more humidity loving, just because they have a higher chance of living. I want to buy a biosphere at some point, but you know that is a little bit costly. But you can see here, succulent terrarium for only $32. So they've already got a ready-made succulent terrarium, and then they have this terrarium right here. Let's take a look. How much is it? $64. This is a pink trails terrarium, so you can see they've got some pink begonia and some more reddish plants here. And I love that they also have a waffle plant, a purple waffle plant. So all of these plants need a little bit more humidity. I love the look of it. And you know, as far as terrariums, I have made them before, but for those that actually have terrariums in their plant collection, will you leave in the comments what your terrarium maintenance looks like, what plants you would recommend, because we all want to learn, and I definitely want to learn. Now, this philodendron, I'm not 100% sure what type of philodendron this is. It is another one that looks to be an easy one. It might be a juvenile form of a mayoi. I do like the serrated look on the leaves, and this one is not a bad price at all. And as you can see here, they just have tables and tables of gorgeous plants. Green Acres Nursery is a local nursery that I feel like, especially for those out in the North Dallas area, we definitely need to support. I did hear a rumor that they might potentially be opening another location in Frisco. I would be super excited about that. But even covering and doing plant footage of this nursery out in Melissa, Texas, I can see that they are growing their plant selection. There's more plants to choose from, and I'm glad that I was able to see this when they first opened the indoor section and where it is now. Calathea rospicta, definitely a finicky plant. It's a plant that I would not recommend for the beginner, even though it has gorgeous foliage. This one is a beautiful Scindapsus jade, and it is one of the more uncommon Scindapsus. You know, most Scindapsus are more of like the silvery tones, but that one is the jade color, the green color. And then we have a bunch of prayer plants. So we have the non-variegated prayer plants, but they also have the variegated prayer plant right here. I believe it is for $20. Now, I would love to add prayer plants to my collection, but just like, you know, calatheas, they're still going to be finicky plants. And honestly, the plant requirements for these particular plants, for instance, needs bright indirect light. You want to keep the soil moist, so you want to make sure that the watering is a little bit more frequent and more humidity, and you should be okay. That's really the ideal conditions for that prayer plant. So let me know in the comments if you've grown prayer plants, what that looks like for you. You can see there are many varieties of Hoyas. Unfortunately, I don't know all of the Hoya varieties, and they don't always have all of the Hoya plant IDs. But what I can say is they have some really cost-effective Hoyas as well. You can see here, $13.50, and you've got this beautiful Hoya. They have a Hoya carrii right over here. Let's take a look at the price, $13.50. So you can find an assorted variety of different types of Hoya. This table also has a bunch of Pileas and Peperomias, and this this one right here was actually really tempted to purchase. This is a beautiful peperomia ginny, and this is only for $9.75. If I am gonna grow this, I may end up putting it in semi-hydro as well. Like I said, again, putting them, you know, these plants in a substrate like lechuza pond or leca has really worked out well for me. It just made it easier for me to maintain. And this one is beautiful. You can see that it's got some really nice red borders and margins, and you can see that this plant is happy because it is in full bloom. Really nice plant price for $9.75. So you can start your plant collection. I'm actually going to do a video next time where I budget out like maybe $50 to see how many different plants I have. I may end up doing them as giveaways, but you can see here $9.75 for this lemon lime peperomia obtusifolia. Love that green on green variegation. And then what else do we have here? We just got a lot of different types of Hoyas. So I'm just going to walk around and continue to show you these Hoyas. As far as Hoya care tips, I can't necessarily speak on that because I'm not 100% sure on the Hoya care tips. I would just assume that it's, you know, kind of similar to a lot of plants, bright indirect light. Now with Hoyas, you don't want to overwater them. You want to make sure that you let their soil dry out completely. And if you're able to give them some higher humidity levels, they're going to also be happy. And take a look at these chicken little statues over here. That's pretty funny. And then we have some more Hoya Crimson Princess right here. These are just in the 4.5-inch starter planters, and you can see that it is a little bit sun stressed at new growth, only for $13.50. So if you want to start a Hoya collection, definitely go to Green Acres Nursery out in Melissa, Texas. Again, you can see right as I'm showing you all of these plants are full, they're healthy, and they are priced accordingly. I would say the price is right on a lot of these plants that we are looking at today at the Green Acres, and you can see they still have more Hoyas right over here. I do like the splashy look of Hoyas, and what I really appreciate about Hoyas is they're literally very forgiving plants. Like, as in, if you neglect a Hoya, you can't necessarily send it to plant heaven very quickly. I think the fastest way to send a Hoya to plant heaven is by overwatering, but I have not watered certain Hoyas for more than like a month, and it has done very well for me to where I just have to water it, and within a day it is perked back up. Now this is what I would call the easy care for table, where we have a bunch of ZZ plants and Sansevieria, so I really like the look of that as well. Now this table is going to have a lot of plants that are definitely low light tolerant and drought tolerant. You've got ZZ plants, and you've got lots of different varieties of Sansevieria or snake plants. This one is the whale fin snake Sansevieria. I really like the look of that. And then this one right here is a little bit more uncommon. This is a Sansevieria sayuri, and this particular Sansevieria with that grayish cream variegation, it is a very, very slow growing Sansevieria. It's even slower than the average Sansevieria, and you know, snake plants are pretty slow growers. And you can see this is some type of rhaphis plant in a hanging basket. Really interesting texture. I don't know a lot about the plant care tips, so anybody that's growing this plant, please leave in the comment section about the plant care tips. And again, if you've made it this far into the video, please make sure you are hitting the like button for this video. Again, it is a huge help for my plant efforts to get you that daily plant content. It will push out this video to more plant lovers like yourself, and I just want to continue to grow our plant community. But as I talk about these plants at Green Acres, one thing I also want to say about Green Acres is just look at the organization of this nursery. Shopping at local nurseries will really inspire you to buy plants because of the merchandising. And also, I would recommend shopping at local nurseries. I know I do a lot of big box or plant shopping videos at Walmart, Lowe's, and Home Depot, but as you can see here, they've got these plants curated, displayed, and you have so many different varieties to pick from. You can see we've got some Sansevieria, and then that is a Dracaena limelight. It's a large form, and you know, again, that neon colored Dracaena, this one right over here as well, it's going to be priced at a very good price at Green Acres. These are easy to care for plants. These are plants that I would recommend in your space because they are low light tolerant and drought tolerant. They're not finicky about the quality of water you use. You can literally use tap water and they will be fine, and for the most part they are pest resistant as well. I mean, obviously if you have a mealybug infestation, they may get that, but as far as actually getting sick with a plant pest, they're very resilient. Sansevieria snake plants, again, those are very easy to care for plants, but the easiest plant to take care of on that whole table would be that ZZ plant that I passed by. Now, right next to it is a plant table where I would not recommend a lot of these plants for a beginner, specifically this plant. So this Geo plant for $27.50. This is actually a Casa Farms Trending Tropical. It was a beautiful plant, and when I touched the texture of the leaves, it was really thick, so I thought it would be actually drought tolerant. It is not. You literally have to water that every day, and even if you water it every day and you don't give it enough humidity, it starts to just crisp, and I just had to pretty much return the plant because there is a really good return policy for some of these big box stores. I just didn't want to stomach spending $19.98 for a plant that was on its way to plant heaven. All of these calatheas, and I don't have the particular plant ID for this calathea. This one is for $13.50. I will say the pricing for these calatheas is a really good price, but the only thing is, and like this one right here, this Calathea rospicta, I really love the look of this plant. Unfortunately, I just haven't been able to grow it. I've tried to grow it in soil where I've tried to stay on top of the watering. I've actually tried to grow it in hydroponics where it was literally sitting in water. It still didn't do well. And then I bought one, a really large one, for $18.88 at Home Depot, and it started to crisp up even though I had a humidifier and all of the things that it actually wants. So it's just a sign for me that certain plants are just not meant to grow in my plant collection, whether it's the environment I have or more so just the routines and time I have to invest in the plants. Now over here for $32.50 is 6-inch planters of Alocasia Mickey Mouse. This is a gorgeous looking plant. Now some people will say it's actually a xanthosoma. Leave in the comments the specifics on that plant, but I have been able to grow that and that Alocasia cuprea that I touched in a semi-hydro what is a semi-hydro substrate like Lechuzapon. Now, I also want to buy an Alocasia Black Velvet, and for $9.75, that's a really good deal, really good price, and that's the reason why I love Green Acres. They have some really good pricing on their plants, not only in their indoor tropical plants, but if we were to explore the outdoor section, really good pricing. $9.75 for this Alocasia Black Velvet. Really like the look of that. That is another Alocasia just because of the texture of the leaves. Is a little bit more spider mite prone, but I feel like I can convert it into semi-hydro in Lechuzapon and it'll do well. And then this one right here, $13.50, Alocasia Dragon Scale, beautiful plant, and the one I have has actually transitioned into semi-hydro and it is doing very well. The thing about it is when you're putting an Alocasia into Lechuzapon, some people say there's not a transition period. I believe there is, because I've noticed that some of the plants will lose a lot of its leaves, and to the point where you're like, is it going to actually make it? Once you start seeing new signs of growth, that's when you know that the roots have actually converted from soil roots into semi-hydro roots. So there's different varieties of roots, and it just takes a little bit more time for them to actually establish, but I feel like it'll do well in Lechuzapon. This one is for $20. This is an Alocasia Portii. It almost looks like an Alocasia Jacqueline. I really like the serrated look on the leaves as well. But I almost found myself going into a rabbit hole when it comes to Alocasias, just because I was transferring a lot of them in the Lechuzapon, and I'm thinking, yeah, I can grow the plant. I can, actually grow Alocasias. I've debunked all the myths about being able to grow Alocasias, but again, there's still some time and requirement for even semi-hydro, that even with it being an easier version of just growing them into like actual soil substrates, there still has to be some time, and I've overstretched myself this season. The holiday season is pretty much the peak season for my career, and I am stuck working at least 10 to 12 hours daily, and you got to think I also try to do daily plant shopping videos because I want to feature Green Acres. I want to feature big box stores. I want to get you guys excited about plants, because this is that 1 hour where we can all congregate and enjoy looking at plants. And if you like it, at least me talking your ear off about plants, that's part of my plant therapy. And so this isn't really a chore for me. I know some of you guys have said, to slow down a bit, but for me, it's one of those things that actually contribute to de-stressing me from my daily challenges that I have with either my job or just the daily stresses that we have in general. Now over here, this is a Ficus elastica taniki. Really like the look of that as well. And you can see that Green Acres has many varieties of sizes for plants. I prefer their larger size plants because I feel like Green Acres offers a really competitive price when you compare it to big box stores. So, you know, people will ask me ways to save money on plants. Number one, obviously, compare and contrast plant pricing between local nurseries and big box stores. Number two, come with some type of plant budget. So if you're going to a local nursery like Green Acres, for instance, to go plant shopping, have yourself a set budget. The one thing that will always get a lot of us in trouble is we'll go into a nursery and we don't have like some type of range of budget. That's what happens when you're inspired to pick up all of these different plants, whether it's, oh, I want to go collect every single Sansevieria or every single begonia like this one right here for $3.50, and then all of a sudden you've actually spent more than what you were intending, or you didn't realize that you spent more than what you were expecting to spend. I'm all about supporting local nurseries, small businesses. That's why I will always talk about Green Acres Nursery. I will also talk about Petus Planters, but there has to be a parameter about how much money we're spending on plants. And you know, the last video I asked our viewers is, if you spend more than $25 to $100, comment below and say A. If you spent more than $200 to $500 in the last month, comment B. And then if you spent more than $500 to $1,000 within the last month, comment C in the comment section. I'm just really curious, like really curious where everybody's plant budget is. But to go back to the plants at Green Acres, I'm just gonna walk around and pretty much show you all of the gorgeous plants that they have available, especially this one right here. One of my favorite, philodendron lemon lime. Now that one is a climber, so you're going to need to give it a lot of support with stakes. And then we talk about plant effective pricing, $9.75 for this philodendron Prince of Orange. Really good starter, super healthy plant. And so I'm just gonna walk around and keep showing you some plants. Leave in the comments which plants you like, if you have any questions about these plants. And as far as care tips, again, if you want to share some care tips for the plant foldy community, I welcome it. I want to see it because that's just what makes these plant videos fun. And obviously show your support for Green Acres. Let them know that they're doing a great job, because I think they're doing a phenomenal job. I think Parker of Green Acres, who runs this specific indoor greenhouse, you are doing awesome, sir. And I hope you continue to source out more Aglaonema. Over here, they've got a large variety of like Dieffenbachia, Aglaonema on this table. This is actually my favorite table. This Dieffenbachia Tropic Marianne, one of my favorite Dieffenbachias, because look at how bright the leaves are. And then we have a Homelamena Shelby. Now this one right here, I see this a lot at big boxers. Let's see how much the price is. Only $15.50. That's not a bad price at all. Now the only thing about Homelamena Shelby, it is more of a finicky plant as well. It's a little bit more challenging of a plant. So it's a plant that I'm not necessarily going to put in my space because, number one, you know, as far as plants are concerned, what makes them finicky is because they just require a little bit more than the average environment. What I mean is, some plants will need a little bit more light. Some plants we're going to need a little bit more water, or some plants will need more humidity. And sometimes our indoor spaces are not conducive to that, or we may not have that time to really invest into the plants. And, you know, some people will tell me, well, Richie, why are you growing plants again? You know, that is the same question question for me. It's a learning process. It's a process where I feel like I can overstretch myself to grow these plants, but then we all have to come to a realization on our own about whether we can sustain a lot of plants in our plant collection. So for me, that's, my answer for anybody that says, well, if you don't have the time to water your plants, why do you keep buying plants? I mean, in a nutshell, it's because I love plants, and, I haven't learned my lesson. Maybe I haven't lost enough money to realize that, collecting all of these plants are not always going to be beneficial, but, I feel like I do have a plant addiction. I think that everybody who watches Grow Folds may have some sort of plant addiction or obsession, but, there's so many good reasons why we want to add plants. And as you can see over here, this is my favorite table because they've got syngoniums and they've got Aglaonema, like $7.75. And you can see that these are fairly established syngoniums. You can see that the roots are coming out of the drainage holes. And that's one other sign I would say, if you're going to go plant shopping, look for plants that have, really established roots. So if you see roots coming out of the drainage holes, that's a good thing. If you can see right here, Aglaonema Spring Snow, love this, for $22.50. And I am on a hunt for any type of Aglaonema I can possibly find. This one I do love. This one, if you don't give it nearly as much light, it's not going to be as bright white as it is. What I do like about this Aglaonema is, even though it's got a lot of white variegation, it can still tolerate a lower light condition. It may not be as white, but Aglaonema Spring Snow, some people will say this is Aglaonema Wintry Wine. That's the thing about Aglaonemas. They're very, very similar in the look. But as far as their care tip, except for like Aglaonema Pictum Tricolor and some other varieties, most Aglaonemas will have the same care tips. So as I continue to talk about Aglaonema, and to forewarn you, all the videos I will be producing this holiday season, there will be an Aglaonema, because I feel like it is that time of the year to explore, to possibly gift somebody a Aglaonema, to get the Aglaonema craze going. Like, that is a plant. You can see these plants are my favorite plants. These plants are things that we all need to add to our plant collection. I am so confused and baffled that we don't add an Aglaonema Anyanami into our plant collection. $13.50. Look at how gorgeous that pink is. And again, if you like pink plants, this plant does not need to be watered often and can tolerate lower light conditions. So where's the holdup? Why are we not all, flooding the comments about where we can find these Aglaonema? I mean, if you live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, you can go ahead and go to Green Acres in Melissa, Texas, and go ahead and buy all of the Aglaonemas. I would love to be able to gift all of the plant foldies that watch my videos in Aglaonema, because they are so easy to grow. I repeat, Aglaonemas are so easy to grow. So are syngoniums, like the Syngonium Strawberry Cream. I think it's for $7.75. And, I like this table because there's cost-effective plant pricing and beautiful pink plants. Like this one right here. I already have an Aglaonema Anyamanie, but I want to support the Green Acres Nursery, so I'm going to buy that. Dieffenbachia Cool Beauty, I do want to buy this plant. I may end up buying it next time I'm here, but it is going to be a plant that I'm going to hold off on because it is a beautiful plant. I love the variegation on it, and if I'm going to grow this Dieffenbachia, it's going to be the first Dieffenbachia I'm going to put in semi-hydro. I think I'm going to mix it with Lechuza Pon and Leca. Now, Lechuza Pon right now is out of stock in Amazon, and so that is pretty much golden because there's a lot of people looking for Lechuza Pon. I think, they need to restock it, but I heard from somebody that they may not potentially restock Amazon's Lechuza Pon until like next year, and that's too long for me to wait. Dieffenbachia Reflector. That is another Dieffenbachia I want to add to my collection, $13.50. The plant pricing has gone down for that. The only thing is, it is a finicky plant, so that's going to be one of those plants for me to pick later, but it's one of those plants that I definitely want to add to my collection. I mean, this is a no-brainer. Anybody who loves Aglaonema will pick this up. Again, plant foldies, I'm asking, number one, if you made it this far into the video, hit the like button. And then number two, let me know reasons why you do not want to add an Aglaonema to your collection. I'm curious, or if you've added Aglaonema to your collection, reasons why, in the comment section. Aglaonema Nicole. I finally got the plant ID for that. Thank you, Costa Farms, for having that plant ID on your website. But this one I like because you can see that the borders are very much, there's a huge contrast to it. And I love that silver foliage. And this one right here, whilst, you know, the pink, just the pink in general, like who wouldn't want that? And you know what? It's got that reddish pink tone to it. This could actually be a holiday plant. It could kind of fit your Christmas decor. I mean, I'm really just trying to find any way to get you excited to buying these Aglaonema. I wish these Aglaonema were more readily available from my Canadian plant foldies. So for those that are in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, you have no reason to not have an Aglaonema. Green Acres Nursery is here for you. $22.50 Aglaonema BJ Friedman. Love this Aglaonema as well. And the reason being is it has a minty green tone about it, but I also like some of the dots and speckling on the leaves. And it is an Aglaonema that can get to pretty large sizes. And if you want a large size Aglaonema to fill a space that is in a darker area of your home, that is a prime Aglaonema to add to your collection. And then we have another Aglaonema. Now this one is a little bit different than the Aglaonema Silver Bay. This is for $22.50. I used to have the plant ID for this one, but I'm not 100% sure what this one is. I do like that it has more of a gray silverish tone on the speckles versus just a green on green variegation. And you can see there are 4 plants to this. The thing about Aglaonema is you can buy something like this and split it into 4 different plants, and then maybe 4 to 5 months later you will have baby pups popping up. So, you know, Aglaonema, they reproduce and repropagate themselves fairly easily. You can see this one is an Aglaonema Golden Bay next to an Aglaonema BJ Friedman. And again, if Aglaonemas tend to get a little bit leggy, what you can do is you can repot them in a more tall pot and further down into the pot. That is one way to get them to look like full like this again. I almost want to buy this, even though I shouldn't. It's $22.50, but this Aglaonema Spring Snow, it is a gorgeous Aglaonema. I love it. And, you know, some updates about my Aglaonema collection. I am getting my import from from Indonesia. They are shipping it out on Friday, so I should get it within 3 to 5 days. So sometime next week, stay tuned for my unboxing video from my Indonesian Aglaonema imports. I will show you ways to find a reputable seller. So if you're interested in collecting Aglaonema seriously, send a comment or send me a direct message on Instagram. Like I said, again, it is the fastest way to get in touch with me directly, and I pretty much respond to everybody. And you can see here, this one is not an Aglaonema Golden Bay. I don't know what it is. It is an interesting one. I will go back and buy these large foliage Aglaonema. I may end up buying this Dieffenbachia, but I do like this Aglaonema Nicole. That is a large size one. And as I get my plant collection under control, I promise Plant Foldies that I will eventually do a houseplant tour, but it's one of those things where you don't want to like do it just 50% to your potential. Like I really want to give you a quality video where it's not just point and shoot. Like I really want to do some really good editing. I want to get some good lighting to where you can really get a good feel about my plant collection. Now, mind you, I do not have the most rare plants. I kind of take over my grandmother in a sense that I would rather have easy to care for plants versus plants that are always variegated or super expensive that are harder to grow. So that's the reason why I'm spending a little bit more time on this table. Like Aglaonema Spring Snow, $22.50. What a gorgeous looking plant. I mean, unless I am looking at something else, unless I am just crazy in a sense that I'm the only one who finds Aglaonema beautiful, I mean, why would you not add that to your plant collection? It baffles me, and that's the reason why all of my videos the last week I've really taken a lot of time for Aglaonema. I know some of you guys have mentioned I am quote a plant influencer. I'm really not. I don't have that many subscribers. I am thankful for the 11,000 subscribers that tune in to my videos. Really appreciate that. I didn't even expect it to get that large in the past year, but seeing you guys actually interact with me, and there are several plant foldies that I can't just list because you guys are always showing up on the live chats. You already know who you are, and I am so appreciative and thankful for you. I always mention, hit the like button to support me, but honestly, just watching my videos, just interacting with me, just supporting the big box stores and local nurseries is enough to really make this plant journey of doing plant content daily worthwhile. And you can just see, this is the reason why this particular table of all the tables at Green Acres out in Melissa, Texas is my favorite, because of the Aglaonema. So I'm just going to keep pulling this out. You can see this one has nice, it looks like an Aglaonema Maria, but it's got more narrow leaves, and I love the white stems. And then you can see right over here, even larger size Aglaonema. So we're going to keep walking, and I'm going to keep showing you more of the pink ones and the varieties. Let me know in the comments which ones you like so far.
All of the time we spent together, in our prime we were birds of a feather, different kind. We were laughing through the pain, you were never once sober. Cut the cord that kept us connected, blacking out the mirror where your light once reflected. All of the love from up above, we used to feel like a glove.
And you can see I've shown you lots of pink Aglaonema, but this one I wasn't planning on buying, but I'm going to buy it because this is an Aglaonema Etta Rose for $22.50. So I gave one to my grandmother, but I feel bad taking all of her plants. And for those that have not seen my grandmother's plants, definitely check it out. She is the master at growing plants. But look at that Etta Rose Aglaonema. Look at how pastel pink it is. It is stunning. This is one that I'm going to convert into semi-hydro, but it's going to go specifically in a mixture of lechuza, pon, and leca. And this is the one I'm going to buy because look at that. Even though it has a couple of leaves that have cosmetic damage, look at how pink some of them are. And I feel like if I give it more bright light, it's going to be even more pink. Let me know in the comments if you have an Etta Rose. And what I like about this particular Aglaonema is the leaves can get really large. So can you imagine an Etta Rose Aglaonema with really large pastel pinks? So for those that love pink plants, get yourself an Aglaonema Etta Rose. That is a really good price for a 6-inch planter for $22.50. So as you can see, Plantfoldies, this is the reason why this is my favorite table. Definitely get an Aglaonema, get yourself a Syngonium. These are Syngoniums for only $7.75, and they are pretty established in their actual planter. And you can see this is another pink one right here. So I'm just going to keep walking around and showing you some more of the plants at Green Acres in Melissa, Texas. yes, the staff at Green Acres in Melissa, Texas have done a phenomenal job. And I did want to show you this. So they have a really unique 6-inch planter, $22.50 of a mixed amount of different types of plants. So you'll get like pothos plants, different types of philodendron. It's just an interesting combination. I ended up buying the smaller variety of it for $9.75, but they have the $22.50, but you can get so many different plants. I think that that's a cool idea. So if you are on a budget and you want like a philodendron micans, a philodendron lemon lime, a syndapsis, some type of pothos, so many different plant cuttings that have actually rooted, I think that's a really nice deal. And I talk about these large philodendron. Look at that philodendron Prince of Orange. And then we have this plant with this table where it's pretty much philodendron heteroraceum and epipremnum aureum. So these are all of the trailing plants. And then I'm going to spin back over here because I want to show you how gorgeous that pink Aglaonema is again for $13.50. Definitely would buy that, and I think everybody should try and get an Aglaonema et rose. I'm thinking about my friend Janae and Steven at I Live Plants. These are my two friends that we will be doing a podcast called The Cultivation Corner. It'll be one of the first plant shows on YouTube. We will be debuting on the first week of December, so definitely check it out. We've been working hard, but all three of us love Aglaonema. Like, I want to gift them Aglaonema as well. And so, if anybody's going to ask me, hands down, if you're going to give somebody who's not really in tune with plants as a beginner plant, buy them an Aglaonema. Just tell them not to water the plant only when soil is completely dry, and you can pretty much put it in a lower light condition and they will still do okay. And that's the thing about plants that makes them easy. And I know that I've really spent a lot of time on it. I was really excited when Parker, who is the manager of this particular greenhouse at Green Acres, mentioned how he just picked up all of the pink Aglaonemas. I encourage you, Parker, if you're watching this video, to keep doing that, and you are doing a phenomenal job. Like, he is showing me this philodendron that he just recently sourced. I don't know this philodendron name. I do love the fact that it's got very elongated, narrow leaves. So if you know the plant ID for this philodendron, please leave it in the comments. I would like to know, because that's another philodendron I would like to add to my collection as well. Everybody loves an anthurium right over here. Who does not love an anthurium? I love anthuriums. This was for $25, and these are easy to care for plants. If you're looking for an easy care plant as well, an anthurium, this blooming anthurium is super easy. I actually put a pink one in Lechuza Pond, and it's doing phenomenal. Now we're gonna walk into the indoor rare tropical area section, which they usually have gated off just because they need to be a little bit more protective of their plants. But before we walk into that, we're going to look at some of these plants right here. We've got a Monstera Thai constellation and a bunch of large Monstera esqueletos that they are now letting, you know, climb up here. So they're going to have like a wall of Monstera esqueletos. I think that's really cool. So if you're in the market to find a 10-inch planter of Monstera esqueleto, Green Acres has you covered in Melissa, Texas. So definitely go up to Green Acres. I do like their organization. Like I said, again, it's a really neat, clean environment for these plants. Notice all of the plants that they have here are super healthy. And then you can see here, this is their rare cage where all of their plants are. You got a bunch of Alocasia, variegated Fridex. Now these are larger forms. I believe they're for $150. And then we have another Monstera Thai constellation. We've got a philodendron snowdrift, which is a really nice philodendron. It does need a little bit more light to really get that lighter color. And then they have more philodendron here. This is a philodendron variegated heteroraceum. I like that as well. And they're actually growing it up a stake, a plank, so it's going to have larger leaves. Now this plant though needs a lot more light for it to really give that cream variegation. And then they have some more philodendron and anthurium over here. So I'm just going to walk around and show you some of their rare plants. Take a look at this massive philodendron Pluto. I have a juvenile form, but look at how serrated the leaves are. Now this is for $85, but that is a huge philodendron Pluto. I'm thinking I'm gonna probably buy this, but the only thing is I don't really have the space for it, but it looks super cool. It looks like it's about to flower and it is not a bad price. So if you want a large philodendron Pluto, for instance, and these are hard to come by, definitely buy yourself one. I love that dark foliage and I love the serrated leaves. I even love the faint green veining. So we'll see what that looks like. And then philodendron atapoense, nice philodendron. This one has a couple of plants in it. Look at that long leaf right there. It almost looks like a philodendron bellitiae. I feel like it's the more underrated one or the more uncommon one, whichever one you want to spin it by, but beautiful plant as well. And then we'll just take a look at some more of their rare plants. So if you are a plant collector, you will also find some rare plants readily available at Green Acres Nursery out in Melissa, Texas. You can see right here, they've got a philodendron Columbia. These are pretty nice sizes, and I want to get one of these as well because I love the texture of the leaves. And I'm just going to keep showing you some more of these philodendron. Let me know in the comments what you think about these philodendron. I would definitely add this one to my plant collection, and you can just see how healthy these plants are.
Oh, been so long. Why you keeping me waiting? Why you keeping me waiting? All I want, the love from you been so long. The love, all I want, the love from you waiting. All I want, the love from you been so long. The love, all I want, the love from you.
And if you're looking for large, mature philodendron bellitiaes, you can get them at Green Acres, and that's what I'm talking about. As far as their large plants, if you want instant gratification and you're willing to spend just a little bit more money, you can definitely get those large ones. But we're gonna walk around here and then I'm gonna just finish off this video. I did want to say again, thank you to all of the Green Acres staff. You guys are always kind to me. Parker, you're doing amazing. You already know that. And I hope that showing you these videos will actually get people excited. I'm just gonna walk through here and I'm probably gonna show you some more of my favorite plants in that table. But you can see it's a super full location. Super excited that they are getting even more diversity in their plants. I'm glad that I was able to go to this location today. I mean, I need this Etta Rose right here. I'm buying it today, and it is within my $30 budget. It's gonna fit in my budget because I'm gonna buy that and the other Aglaonema. If you like this video, plant foldies, please hit the like button. If you really care about my my plant content and want to reward me for my efforts, hit the like button. As always, please make sure you are subscribed to my YouTube channel with the notification bell on. This is Richie at Grow Folds. I'll have a brand new video tomorrow. Bye.